Welcome to Off Screen. I'm Van Connor.
And I'm Becks Perfect, and this is your 7-day guide to everything movies whilst on lockdown. Boom.
Oh, we've updated it. We've added the whilst on lockdown thing. Nice.
I thought, let's keep it topical, right?
Let's keep it current. Definitely.
I can't wait till we don't have to say that, but,
I know. Do you miss screening rooms as much as I do?
Yes, I actually miss seeing people, I think is the thing.
Yeah.
Virtual. We managed to speak to our neighbours across the fence who got absolutely trashed watching Tiger King, and we're just shouting Carol Baskin over the fence whilst playing beer pong, and it was hilarious. So
that sounds like a good day.
Yeah, it was a good day. You would have enjoyed it more because there's some hotties there, but
excellent.
But it was it's just getting to that point where I just think it'd be nice to see some other people in the flesh that aren't delivery people.
Or people who aren't on screens,
yes.
Because I think those are the only people we're seeing.
That is true.
So speaking of screens then, of course, all of our, what would be our theatrical offerings are basically streaming offerings this week, but usually with a little bit of a twist. So let's talk about our first film of the week, which is a Netflix release.
Yes.
So this is Love, Wedding, Repeat, which is a sort of a wedding set rom-com, I guess, starring Sam Claflin, the woman I would describe as Hollywood Becks Perfect, Olivia Munn, and
too kind.
And I believe Tim Key is in there as well. The comedian poet Tim Key, who works for Talk Radio occasionally, is in there as well. Who I think we will have crossed paths with. So take us through the plot then, Bex.
Okay, so this film, as you've mentioned, stars Sam Claflin and also Olivia Munn. And Sam plays a guy called Jack, whose sister Hayley is getting married. And she is getting married in this beautiful Italian villa. And everyone has flown over for it, including her friend Dina, an American friend who's visited a few times and met Sam Claflin's Jack about 3 years ago. They had an incredible weekend getting to know each other, and he kind of loses the courage to actually make a move all those years ago. So when they come together at the wedding, he thinks now's his chance. But things don't quite go to plan, and as a result, it's chaos.
Got a bit of a problem. Mark Fisher. He's saying that he's in love with me, and he's threatening to go full-on psycho and ruin my wedding. This is the sleep medicine that I've been taking. It would knock him out for hours. Just put a couple of drops of that in his champagne glass.
There has to be another way.
There is no other way.
There is.
There
has to
Please.
be.
There is
there has to
no
be.
way.
Haley. Hey. Your sister is an angel, isn't she? Yeah.
Claflin there giving his best, I think. You a fan of Claflin?
Yes, I am. I think, you know what, I when I first saw him, the first few choices that he made, like Pirates of the Caribbean, stuff to get him kind of off the ground, then onto the Hunger Games and things, I was a bit like, oh, here we go. It's another one of those kind of very generic kind of actors. But actually, he's done really varied stuff. And I think watching him come back into a rom-com has been quite fun. And, as a result, we're kind of seeing another side to him. And he's good in this. I think he's good in it. I think Olivia Munn's in it. I think there's too much of a similarity between this or it's too much of a try-hard similarity of this film with 4 Weddings and a Funeral in a way. And actually the whole...
I could understand
that. The whole relationship, British guy who... And I have to say, Sam Claflin almost mirrors Hugh Grant in some aspects on this, which I think is quite lazy, actually, which is a shame. He could have done something a bit different with it. And then obviously Olivia Munn's character is American, so you've got that British guy, American girl, doesn't quite work out what happens at the end, all that kind of stuff. So it's good. It's
You liked it.
I liked it. I tell you why I liked it, and I think audiences will like it more than critics, is because it's an easy watch. There's not too much to think about. There's funny characters in there that will just get you laughing when you need to. The plot does lose its way, I suppose, a third of the way through, because it's got this kind of sci-fi element to it where you can like rewind the wedding and see what happens.
Right, can I just explain this for someone who hasn't seen it? Anyone who hasn't seen the trailer for the film but has seen the TV show Community, think that episode where they introduce the roll of the dice and the darkest timeline. They try to do that with this wedding, but they only do it twice, and for my money, they don't sketch out the concept quite as well as, definitely not as well as Community did in 20 minutes. This has about an hour and 40, and I think it doesn't really define that comedic gimmick too well for me. I think it just feels like there's a do-over, for reasons.
Yeah. I like the way it's set up at the beginning. There's this like voiceover that basically...
I say, isn't that like... Who is it? Is it Judi Dench?
I don't know. It sounds like Judi Dench or Maggie Smith or someone, but it kind of sends you down this, like, where's this going kind of path, and it's a nice setup. There's elements about it that I really enjoyed. I do think I enjoyed 2/3 of this film, if I'm being completely honest.
You think?
Yeah, that's the way I kind of look at it.
That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I think the performances are good. There are some really funny moments. I'm trying to think of the name of the actor. The guy in the kilt is really funny in it.
Oh, that's Tim Key.
That's Tim Key. Oh, okay, perfect. Well, he gets loads of great lines in this. And he, for me, kept it really fresh and going. So overall, I think there's lots more it could have done. But generally, it's okay. So for me, it's kind of 1 thumb up. How about you, Ben?
1 thumb up. I'll go with 1. I'll go with 1 thumb up as well.
Yeah.
I watched it. I wasn't overly entertained by it, but I didn't like get bored enough to want to turn it off.
Exactly. There you go.
So 1 thumb.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, 1
good.
thumb. Let me talk really quickly about The Host, which is out on digital on Friday. So this is one you pay to own the digital copy of. This is best described as a British version of Psycho, starring Dougie from Busted.
What?
So Dougie from McFly, sorry. Dougie Pointer from McFly. Right, now, I didn't know who he was until after the film. So,
oh, right. Okay.
I'm that out of touch that I just did not know who Dougie from McFly actually was. Despite the fact that I think I've met 2 members of McFly. I know nothing of McFly. I'm too old. So, directed by Andy Newbury and starring Mariam Hosseini. This is basically the plot of Psycho.
Right.
But applied to a sort of British banker who, absconds with the money, has to fulfill a debt for a gangster, go on, do a job, and then basically the plot of Psycho. It is kind of brilliantly crap in its own wonderful way. I mean, it's naff, but it's fun naff. Like, you know where it's going from minute 1. It's very honest. They make no bones about this is just Psycho. We're not doing anything else. We're just doing Psycho because we can. And Mariam Hosseini, I thought was very good in it. I thought she played a sort of great feminine sort of take on Anthony Perkins' Psycho character, on Norman Bates. The male cast aren't particularly remarkable, Dougie from McFly's there. Make of that what you will, But again, all about Mariam, I think it's Hassouni, I think her name is. Mariam Hassouni. And okay, she's the reason to see it. She's clearly having a ball, and that infectious side does carry over. You do get into it, but it isn't anything you haven't seen before.
Okay.
If you've seen Psycho, you literally see it if you want to see Psycho with a member of McFly.
Right. I'm not sure that I want to see that, but
it's a very narrow remit.
Yeah,
niche market.
Niche market. Okay.
1 thumb. 1 thumb.
Okay, fair enough. Should we
1 thumb.
move swiftly on because there's another offering out there?
Yep, okay, another offering we've got this week. We've got The Banker, starring Anthony Mackie and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yep.
And Nicholas Hoult. Let's not forget.
Yes. Actually, I watched this only a couple of nights ago. It's available on Apple TV+. And I really enjoyed it because it's a true story, actually happened, and was interesting. I mean, I wish I understood formulas and numbers and general banking chat a bit better, but that's about it.
So the basic premise, this is sort of almost Black Klansman in reverse, would be one way of looking at it. So this is about 2 black businessmen, one younger aspiring property tycoon, played by Anthony Mackie. I think is he Bernard Garrett?
Yes, Bernard Garrett.
Bernard Garrett, eventually Bernard Garrett Sr., played by Anthony Mackie, who discovers in the 1950s that he's basically victimised, he's excluded, he's turned away for attempts to buy property simply because of his race. He teams up with Samuel L. Jackson, and they in turn hire a white man to be the public face of their business. He's played by Nicholas Hoult. Of course, this leads to a giant court battle about the nature of racism in business practices.
I think you should tread carefully now.
I can talk at length about that. Or I can sum it up with this. The dress code.
Mr. Garrett, you are out of order, sir.
I'm not finished.
Out of order.
You can't get a loan. You can't own a home. You can't start a business.
Mr. Garrett, you have been warned.
Which means you can't build wealth.
Mr. Garrett!
And you're excluded from the American dream.
Sergeant-at-Arms, remove the witness.
Why is it so important to you to exclude an entire race of people from the American dream?
Mackie on fine form. I thought this was very good.
I thought this was really good. It is complex in terms of having to understand how everything works, but you've got three key characters who all bring something very different to it. And I think if you didn't have Samuel L. Jackson having his character sort of as that wilder kind of like Al Pacino hoo-ha kind of character.
Yes. It's a very large performance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but you need it because Anthony Mackie's is so scaled back, and then Nicholas Hoult is like very green, like it's very, very. I suppose
I like
naive.
him.
I liked him in it, yeah, and actually, I loved. It's my classic thing that I love with a true story. Seeing all the real pictures in the credits.
Of course,
works
yes.
so well. But it's an interesting story about how essentially these two black guys bought out loads of properties initially and made a profit on it, became really successful, and then took it one step further and tried to buy banks, and that's when everything kind of went wrong. And if you're fascinated by that, I think this is definitely the movie to catch up on. So Apple TV Plus. God, there's so many out there to mention, aren't there?
I know.
Very much worth your time.
So 2 thumbs up,
Yeah,
1 thumb up.
I give it 1 3/4. I did think it was a bit long. It's only 2 hours, but it's a bit long because of the jargon.
I'm going to give it 1.5 thumbs. I am going to say I kept drawing parallels between Samuel L. Jackson's performance and Bokeem Woodbine in Queen and Slim.
Oh, yeah.
Which very similar performances. I thought it was. I thought they did different things with it, but I thought Jackson was great in this. Big fan of Anthony Mackie.
Yes, and it's good to see him away from Avengers in something like this.
Imagine that. But this actually reteams him with the director of The Adjustment Bureau that I had forgotten he was in.
Oh yes, of course.
So that's The Banker, and that is out now on Apple TV Plus.
Welcome back to Off Screen, and as ever, although we are on lockdown, we are still giving you all the top movies to watch on TV. I was going to say TVs to watch on movies. This is what.
What about the best tea to drink with your movies? We could do that. The best tea to have with your movies.
Or gin. Whichever way you're going, people. Tea or gin. Kicking off this week, actually, movies on TV. I'm excited. The Wolf of Wall Street is on TV, and I'm definitely up for a revisit of this.
I think so. I think now is the perfect amount of, because obviously we have long days to fill. You know, if you can Sky Plus yourself for 3.5, is it like 3.5 hours?
Something crazy like that. Yeah, I mean, we could just watch Michael Douglas for days.
You're thinking of Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street.
No,
Leo.
You're right. Oh my goodness. Hey,
although both are equally awesome, to be fair, and both performances are great.
Do you know what?
This is, of course,
The Wolf of Wall Street. Do you know what? Yeah, this is literally lockdown fever. I think I'm going Delali here. The Wolf of Wall Street, Scorsese, Leo, brilliant. Some of the most quotable lines. I'm sorry, people. I'm back in the 80s.
Having said that, as you say, they're like Wall Street, very quotable lines. Great movie, Oliver Stone, Charlie Sheen.
You threw me when you said it was like 3 hours long. I was like, okay, maybe it was.
But, okay, we're not going to talk about Wall Street, we're going to talk about The Wolf of Wall Street, which is, of course, based on the true story of Jordan Belfort, played for the screen here by Leo, played by DiCaprio himself, in a film directed by Martin Scorsese that pushes the 3-hour mark, that got Jonah Hill his second bit of critical acting love, which I don't think anyone ever saw.
It was the Quaalude scene, wasn't it?
It was the Quaalude scene. And of course, it's the story of how Jordan Belfort ascended the ranks of Wall Street to become the face of just about everything that was wrong with corrupt financial practices. I've got a clip for you of Leo proving his worth to what he would see as stockbrokers lower on the rung than himself.
John, one thing I can promise you, even in this market, is that I never ask my clients to judge me on my winners. I ask them to judge me on my losers because I have so few. And in the case of Aerotine, based on every technical factor out there, John, we are looking at a grand slam home run.
Okay, let's do it. I'll do $4,000.
4,000, that'd be 40,000 shares, John. Let me lock in that trade right now and get back to you with my secretary with an exact confirmation. Sound good, John?
Yeah, sounds good.
Great. Hey, John, thank you for your vote of confidence, and welcome to the Investors Center.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
How'd you do that?
I love that film so much.
I do as well. And do you know what? I've just started reading listening to the audiobook. And it's I don't think it is Jordan Belfort who's actually narrating it, but whoever it is sounds exactly like you'd expect it to sound, and it's brilliant. So if you want to read as well as watch the movie, I definitely recommend doing that as well.
It's on at an awkward time, so I think it's on at 10 p.m. on Saturday night.
It's also on ITV4,
and it is. Yeah, it's a 3-hour plus movie, so this might be a record and watch on the Sunday.
I just want to keep it in. You'd want to keep it in your recording bank anyway because it's such a good movie.
It's great.
Yeah, it's so good.
Also, we forget this movie gave us Margot Robbie.
Yes, it did. Yeah, this is well, she was in Pan Am before this. Okay, which I actually said.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I loved Pan Am. I really loved that, and I thought she did a really good job in that with Christina Ricci and stuff. But this is the movie that made her.
It is, and she's only supposed to be like 22 or 24 when she's in this. I forget which one. You're like, really?
Yeah, well, she's only like 27 now.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay, I thought she was like
yeah.
32.
No.
Okay, so let's go to Sunday, Miss Perfect. What do you got for me?
Okay, oh god, this is a classic. I hope I've got this one right. It's Twister, ITV, 1:50 p.m. Perfect timing here for a Sunday. Twister, the Helen Hunt tornado chasing movie. Am I right?
You got it. You got it in what?
So
It is not the. It's not the Ashley Judd serial killer thriller Twisted, if that's what you were hoping for.
No.
But Bill Paxton. Did you remember that Philip Seymour Hoffman was in this?
Yes, because I rewatched it not too many years ago, and I saw him and I was like, "What is Philip Seymour Hoffman doing in this?" But he's there. Yeah.
And it's got one of the things that every film needs. I'm going to go back on this statement later a little bit, but it's got the one thing that every film needs, and that's Carrie Elwes as a sleazy English accented villain.
Nice.
Which every movie needs. He's like the rival. He's the leader of a rival team of tornado chasing scientists, and the pair of them are basically trying to launch these experimental sensor bins into a tornado so that the resulting sensors can confirm once and for all how a tornado works, and they can predict tornado twisters coming, and they can save lives. And to save them from basically what we're going to describe now.
That was a good sized twister. What was that, an F3?
Solid F2.
See, now you've lost me again.
It's the Fujita scale. It measures the intensity of a tornado by how much it eats.
Eats?
Destroys.
Little encounter we had back there is a strong F2, F3 maybe.
Bet we see some F4s today.
That'd be sweet.
4 is good. 4 will relocate your house fairly efficiently.
Is there an F5? What would that be like?
The finger of God.
None of you have ever seen an F5?
Just one of us.
Because as Helen Hunt knows, you never face off against an F5.
No, oh, an F5. Do you know what? If you watch this when it first came out, and I probably was about like 10 or something when I watched this. I wanted to be a storm chaser. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to chase tornadoes, and I want to be as cool.
I could see you in combat pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Combat pants and a vest.
Yeah, and a VW van just going after it.
Of course. I can see it now. The perfect storm.
Anyway, that is Twister ITV 1:50 p.m. on Sunday. Do not miss it. It's brilliant.
It is. It really is. And also, we all remember the cow, don't we?
Of course.
We all remember.
R.I.P. the cow. What's happening on Monday, Van?
So Monday, we're going to speed this up a bit for you. So on Monday, we've got Sam Raimi's first studio movie. Now, Sam Raimi, once upon a time, tried to get the rights to The Shadow. He failed. He tried to get the rights to Batman. He failed. So instead, he went and invented his own comic book-style superhero, and his name was Darkman. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to let him explain it for himself.
I'm everyone and no one. Everywhere. Nowhere. Call me Darkman.
So he is a disfigured scientist with superhuman strength, murderous, vengeful intent, and the ability to disguise himself as anybody. And he's played by Liam Neeson. What's not to love? It's got a Danny Elfman score, so it sounds kind of like old school Batman. It's kind of a cult classic now. It's got the late Larry Drake as the villain Durant. It spawned 2 sequels. The third movie has one of my favourite titles for any sequel ever, and that's Darkman 3: Die, Darkman, Die.
I was going to say...
I love it.
I was going to say, it sounds naff until you mentioned Liam Neeson. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm sold.
And the love interest is a young Frances McDormand as well.
Oh, wow. So, gosh, when was this out?
This was 1990. This is so worth checking. If you've never seen it, do
I've never seen it. Okay.
But we've got to move on anyway to one that didn't get much attention when it was out. On Tuesday, on Sony Movies at 11:15. This is a tidy, fast-paced thriller, and it's Premium Rush with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
So I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I actually haven't seen this film, but I'm a big fan of his work. Like Looper, for me, one of my favourite films of all time. So tell me a little bit about what we can expect from Premium Rush.
So Premium Rush is a sort of a fast-paced action thriller starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a New York bicycle messenger who is hired to deliver a package from point A to point B. Said package draws the attention of a corrupt police officer played by none other than Michael Shannon. And of course, it becomes a race against the clock to deliver packages from point A to point B whilst fending off the copper. But of course, it all has to have a subtext as well, and it feeds into our intrepid lead's views on the world itself.
You believe in luck?
Yeah, but it was the Taoists that believed in luck. The Buddha rejected all that. We insisted on cause and effect.
What kind of bike messenger are you? You still haven't answered my original question. Aren't you afraid of dying? I mean, the way you ride...
Now, you want to know what scares me is what happened to my friends who just got out of law school. That is collective insanity. Compared to that, going down Broadway at 50 with no brakes, fine.
Sounds good.
The bike wants to go fast. It's steadier that way. I've never been hurt going all out. It's just the hesitation that'll kill you.
So you're one of those guys. No brakes.
No, I hate brakes. Brakes of death.
No brakes for this man. That's how he lives.
That is a nice little selection overall to just kind of get you guys going on the TV. A good kind of variant from Bike Man through to Dark Man.
Welcome back to Off Screen, and we're keeping you on that couch. Where else are you going to go? It's lockdown, but we'll keep the telly on for you. We'll make sure you've got a good movie to watch as you go. So let's start then, Becks, on Wednesday night. I don't know if you know this, but this next week, ITV4 are running a nightly Rocky marathon.
Oh, lockdown just got a little bit easier.
Lockdown just became a throwdown. That's what it did.
Well, you can't say throwdown. That's wrestling.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But there were a punch down? I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We've got Rocky 3, which I think, after Rocky 4, is the best Rocky movie, if we're honest. I think that's the case.
Remind me of the key characters in Rocky 3.
I'll do better than that. I'll give you a clip of one of them.
Bad boy, your family doing real nice, ain't it? You call yourself a fighter? Prove it now. Give me that same chance. The way you've been ducking is the disgrace. If he ain't no coward, why don't he fight me then?
I can't listen anymore of this. Hey, anytime.
I don't care what your rank. You don't get no shot, and I mean that.
I'm glad you people are saying this.
What are you doing? I want to fight this guy.
Well, you got him. You fight him without me.
What are you saying?
It's finished. Yes, I'm finished. I don't want no more of this. I don't want no more. You understand? None of it. It's over with.
But judging by my fighting record.
It's Mr. T as Clubber Lang, yo.
Oh, Mr. T! Yes, of course. That is why it's one of the best Rocky movies.
And this, of course, also marks the final entry in the series to feature Mickey, to feature Mighty Mick, as played by Burgess Meredith, a.k.a. the Penguin from 60s Batman, which is how I'll always remember him. Of course, and this sees Rocky retiring and then coming out of retirement for the first time. He'll go on to do this in nearly every movie after this as well, but Rocky just can't stay in retirement. But he comes out of retirement to face, as you can hear from the clip, the savage likes of Clubber Lang, and of course it will take him on a journey that sees him have to adapt his style to learn new skills with the help of none other than his previous rival, Apollo Creed, played by the incredible Carl Weathers. And this movie, of course, then gave us the iconic Eye of the Tiger training sequence with the most homoerotic, short shorts hug in the ocean.
Was it this one? So we haven't seen it on Rocky 1 or 2?
No, it's not in Rocky 1. A lot of what we associate with the legacy of Rocky actually comes from Rocky 3. Wow, it's strange.
That's crazy. But then, therefore, well worth a watch on ITV4 at 9 o'clock. It's
how neatly sagged. I like that. Thank you.
But, you know, I aim to help out where I can. It is good. And if you're up for a Rocky marathon, then stay tuned to ITV4. Press that record button and keep tuned to what it's got coming up over the coming weeks. Indeed. So I think you start on Monday with Rocky 1. I know Rocky 5 is on the Friday, so I don't know if they're stopping there, if they're carrying on through like the Creed movies. I'm not entirely sure. That'd be amazing.
But I can tell you, though, that on Thursday night at 8 o'clock on 5 Star, there is something of a doozy of a cult classic comedy going on. You must be a fan of this.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen White Chicks? Oh my god, I'm sure.
I know, right? Oh my god, you sounded so like a teenage girl.
Well, that's kind of the point. I say, well, I'll prove the point for you after I explain what the concept of White Chicks is. Are you aware of the movie?
I do know the concept of it. Do you know what? It bypassed me in my teenage years, and I just never really kind of picked it back up.
Well, the thing about this as well is now, when you watch it back, you've got to remember that this movie came out at a very specific time in sort of pop culture, and it came out around the time of Paris and Nicole.
Yeah.
You know, The Simple Life, things like that. So the idea is you have two FBI agents, brothers, played by the Wayans brothers. I think, is it Sean and... not Sean.
Damon, isn't it?
Oh, it's Marlon.
Is it Marlon?
It's not Damon.
Not Damon?
I think it is Sean and Marlon Wayans. They're FBI agents, also happen to be brothers. They undergo a series of prosthetic makeup effects to impersonate what are effectively meant to be Paris and Nicole during an undercover mission in, like, the Hamptons. And, of course, the iconic thing about this movie is always the music. It's always that famous moment in which Terry Crews listens to 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton and does the dance that he would then repeat on Lip Sync Battle. It became a really iconic thing. My cousins, to this day, still cannot hear that song without doing the Terry Crews head bop. And I've got a clip for you of them unveiling their looks and receiving the attention of, let's just say, less than honourable men for the first time.
What's up, money? You got a problem? What you looking at my ass for? Nah, yo, hold my poodle. Hold my poodle. Hey, yo, what's up? Y'all got a problem? Y'all want some of this? You want some of this, punk? What? What, boy, what? I take the both of you. Marcus, get out of here. I got this for you. Kiss my black ass. Marcus, cut it out. What? He looking at me like I'm some kind of girl, man. You are a girl. And you better start acting like one, or you're gonna be an unemployed girl.
Oh, damn. Sure like to cut that cake.
Hey, yo, hold it. Hey, yo, you trying to look at my lumps? I'll pull off my G-string and handle mine. Let's go. I'll handle mine, dog. Let's go, man.
Yo, hold my poodle. I love that.
I just think it looks like the worst prosthetics I've ever seen.
Well, that's it, isn't it? They look terrible. It looks ridiculous. And I'd only ever seen something close to this concept done once before. Lenny Henry did it in 1991, I think, in a movie called True Identity, which is, if you watch it back now, even more racially insensitive than this movie is on occasion. It is laugh-worthy.
I might check it out for, like, nostalgia purposes. I don't know why I missed the boat on this one, but I know it's a classic. But you know what? When we've got so many movies to watch, it's hard to kind of go back and watch the old ones that you're not reviewing, and I think that's the problem.
You say that, I'm going to revisit Predator 2 this week. I can't wait.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I want Danny Glover versus a Predator. So Friday, where should we go?
Do you know what? We are so lucky to have this on our TV screens, right? Friday, Film 4, 9 o'clock, Get Out is the Jordan Peele debut, the Oscar-nominated movie of brilliance. The Daniel Kaluuya excellently acted movie is out.
It is indeed. I remember watching this at home once. My sister walked in and said, "What are you watching?" I went, "Get Out." She said, "Okay." Of course, this is the story of a young African American man who goes home with his girlfriend for, I think is it the Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah, and isn't that Alison Brie is his girlfriend in it?
No, Alison Brie is the one from Glow.
Oh.
This is Alison Williams from Girls.
There we go. It's Alison someone.
This is like Marvel and the Chris's, isn't it? There's too many Allisons. That's what it is.
I'm so glad I'm not doing a movie quiz right now.
Of course, he goes home to visit his girlfriend's parents for the first time. They are played by none other than Catherine Keener and Bradley Whitford, whom I'm always happy to see in the movie. But something's not quite right for our young lead. And he starts to wonder quite what's going on under the surface.
So how long has this been going on, this thing? How long?
4 months.
4 months?
5 months, actually.
She's right. I'm wrong.
Attaboy. Better get used to saying that.
Please, I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. She's right. I'm wrong. See?
Does he have an off button? This is exhausting.
I know, and I want to give you a tour.
Can we unpack first?
You want to unpack? Before the tour?
And of course, the famous line from this movie is, I would have voted for Obama for a third term if I could have. And that becomes the de facto sort of gag comment going back and forth. I love this movie so much.
I really love it. And do you know what? I love how Jordan Peele, with his signature credits for his production company, has essentially a teacup and a teaspoon stirring.
Monkey paw, yeah.
Monkey paw, yeah. Does that. And that, for me, like the sound of the teaspoon in the teacup stirring is something that kind of almost begins to grate on me now from watching this movie. And
oh yeah, it's entered the horror lexicon, hasn't it? The things that have become iconic in recent years.
I mean, what a clever director Jordan Peele is. I mean, this for a debut was outstanding. And then obviously Us.
And Oscar winning.
And Oscar winning, yeah. And also, I was being careful with that to say Oscar nominated. I couldn't quite remember what it won for. But
screenplay, I believe.
Screenplay, there you go. Well, actually, well deserved. And then obviously the follow-up for Us is brilliant as well.
I was a big fan of Us.
Yeah, and I think what I liked about it was that everyone was expecting a horror, and it was a bit more of a kind of mystery thriller. And I think
a little bit of Twilight Zone sci-fi in there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's really different. But anyway, Get Out is, if you haven't seen this, I mean, Daniel Kaluuya, we said it when we reviewed Queen and Slim, he picks the most brilliant roles, and he was just such a perfect casting for this. His American accent is flawless. His like wide-eyedness, kind of, you know, it's
that face.
That face. Yeah.
During that scene, you know, it's literally the poster, isn't it? It's literally the poster.
Haven't people manipulated that poster for lockdown as well? So they've changed a few things about that. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Stay in.
Look, it's brilliant. And actually, you've got a great selection of movies this week. So ending up on Get Out is not a bad way to see your Friday in. So those are the movies for this week on TV. We're going to move on to streaming real soon. And we're back on your small screen. Again, I mean, it's surprising. We're in a lockdown. We're definitely not going to
We should stop being so blown away and surprised by this.
I know. I'm just trying to keep it fresh in our minds because you just don't know. I feel like I'm in that... what was that movie we reviewed the other week, which with Imogen Poots, where you're just constantly... Vivarium. I feel a bit like we're in that. It's a bit strange.
I can imagine. I can definitely imagine.
Right, we're moving on to DVD and Blu-ray, all available as of Monday, the 20th of April. So, the biggest film that we could have expected at the end of last year was, of course, Star Wars.
Cats.
Okay. Right, okay, fine. Maybe for you, Van, maybe for you. But actually, that night was a double whammy of screenings, wasn't it? It was Cats.
It was. We saw both.
We saw both, yeah. So, I have seen neither, in fact, that screening, because I refused to do it, because I was like, I'm not doing it when you're putting it this late at night. It's not fair.
It's true. It's true.
I was being defiant.
I can understand.
Yeah, so Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. I'm sure everyone except me has seen this, but, you know, if you haven't, it's on Blu-ray, right?
It is, of course, but it's been on digital for a few weeks. It's now on DVD and Blu-ray. So Rise of Skywalker, aka Star Wars Episode 9. This is the end of the Skywalker saga, and this is a story that sees the crumbling remains of the Resistance called to action, trying to track down the seemingly returned out of nowhere Emperor Palpatine, who's, it's revealed instantly in the opening minute of the film, has actually been pulling the strings behind the scenes the entire time and has somehow amassed a giant Imperial fleet that he's going to hand over to the First Order and allow them to wipe out the Resistance and enslave the galaxy once and for all. I've got a clip of some of the mystery and intrigue behind his Machiavellian schemes.
At last. My boy. I have been every voice you have ever heard inside your head.
It's a Star Wars movie, you know.
Where does this sit for you in the ranking of Star Wars movies?
Let's see. Better than Solo, not as good as Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. That hurts me to say.
Yeah. Ouch. I know
that really hurts me to say.
Do you know why I haven't sort of rushed to go and watch this? Is because there was such mixed reactions to it, not just from critics but from fans as well. And for that reason, I was a bit like, I didn't like obsessively grow up with Star Wars when I was a kid. It wasn't to be honest, I was watching Flash Gordon on repeat.
Can't say I blame you.
Yeah, exactly.
Flash Gordon rules, man.
Exactly. But with this, I loved The Force Awakens. I thought that worked really well. I wasn't really that fussed about the middle one, which I can't even remember. The Last Jedi.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
If you didn't like The Last Jedi, you may enjoy this a lot more. Now, I really like The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi is something that Star Wars needed for a long time, a film that stepped out and did something different with the formula. This, for me, is let's just do a video game movie with Star Wars characters. It's quest objects. We've got to find object A to lead us to quest B, to then retrieve item C, to then, and it's lather, rinse, repeat for me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't quite work. I was disappointed by the treatment of characters that I had come to really like after the previous movie. There was a lot of setup in the last movie that never gets dealt with. The idea of force sensitivity and things like that is dealt with as this weird, unspoken, offhand thing that just feels like ridiculous coincidence a lot of the time. But it is a Star Wars movie. It's tab A to slot B.
Yeah. And
if you're only in this for some blasters and some lightsaber fights, then more power to you. You'll have a good time, I guess.
Yeah, and I think my biggest thing about it is, like, how much do I need to know about the saga previously in order to do this? Because I watch them when they come out, And I don't know if I have the time to then recap my Star Wars brain to get into gear to understand what's going on. And I think, the thing is, right, is that if you have something like Disney Plus, you're going to get access anyway. Yeah. So you've got that, time now to watch this. So
well, that's the thing as well. I could be harsher on it. But obviously I won't, because it's on DVD, and to be fair, if you're going to go out and buy the DVD, odds are you're already invested in this anyway. So it doesn't matter. One I will, however, say a lot more negative things about is our other DVD of the week, which is, of course, the latest remake of Black Christmas, which didn't get press shown. That's why you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I was like, what have I missed? Because this is 2019.
It is, yes. But it didn't get press shown. I don't think anyone actually saw it. I think it was only in cinemas for about a week. And, well, to be frank, it's not very good. It's a sort of feminised take. It puts itself forward as a feminised take on Black Christmas, which is interesting because Black Christmas has always been a pretty feminist take anyway. It's literally all slasher movies in their own way are, because slasher movies, we tend to forget, are quite feminist pictures. They're always from a female point of view, 9 times out of 10. They are always about the final girl. Emphasis on the girl. You look at something like Scream. No one's going to say that Scream is a movie made from the male gaze because it's Sidney Prescott's movie. Same thing with Black Christmas. The only thing that they've done here is they have changed the characters into very much flag-waving feminists, as in it's kind of a joke, a meta-joke within the film about, my body, my choice is literally used as a line of dialogue at one point, as related to murder. That sort of a take on what is effectively a slasher-style killer over Christmas, picking these girls off one by one. I'm going to put it for you.
I will bring you to your knees. You beg for mercy? There. What did you just do?
I said, hey, Calvin Hawthorne, why don't you come down here, bite my ass, and make me a panini on my mom's press?
Oh, my...
What was that?
Because it was 2019, you had to have some mobile phone noises in there as well.
Yeah, not really much of a recommendation from you then.
Not really. It does star Imogen Poots, though, to bring Miss Poots back into the conversation for Vivarium early.
Yeah, she is good. But not good enough to save this.
Not good enough, and I'll watch Imogen Poots in just about anything, including Green Room, which I absolutely adore. But this is not one of her better efforts. In fact, this is really substandard to the point that Cherry Falls actually looks kind of accomplished. Do you remember Cherry Falls?
Yeah, I do. How about House of Wax? Where's that sit with this?
House of Wax, the remake, the Paris Hilton one.
The Paris Hilton one.
Better movie than this.
Wow, that is saying something, people.
Better movie than this. There are Wrong Turn sequels that are better movies than this, and I'm including number 6. Number 6 or number 7? I forget.
Good.
Anyway.
Okay, let's move swiftly on. So on streaming now from Amazon Prime, from Wednesday next week, you can catch 21 Bridges, which I remember seeing this. I think it was really good. So basically, a crime happens, and the only option for the police force to do is to shut all 21 bridges around Manhattan to lock it off.
How you gonna do this? There are 21 bridges in and out of Manhattan. Shut them down. 3 rivers, close them. 4 tunnels, block them. Stop every train that leaves the island. Amtrak, PATH, New Jersey Transit, LIRR, Metro North, and loop the subways. Then, we flood the island with blow.
Brilliant idea from both Miss Perfect and then Chadwick Boseman there.
There we go.
Chadwick.
Sounds like a butcher's.
Chadwick is his 80s, is the 80s white guy answer to Chadwick Boseman. He has long, slick back hair and his name is Chadwick.
Nice.
There we are.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this film. I think it worked really well. It kept good suspension, worked with a nice sort of individual concept of it. 21 bridges, who knew? I mean, you learn a new fact every day. That would go down great in a pub quiz.
Well, that's the thing. This is the thing. They're right, because it's written by the Russo brothers, I believe. They have a hand, or they produce it, or something like that. And one of the whole things was they could not actually find out how many bridges they were. They guessed how many bridges there were.
Fine.
Because one of the titles of the film, you can still find it listed online as this, is 17 bridges. So, swings and roundabouts. I like this. I like Chadwick Boseman in it. I think he gets to do something a bit different. He gets to play sort of a bit more of an aggressive lead for a change versus something like his Black Panther role or even Marshall, which I thought was very good as well.
It's a really strong kind of, cop drama with a twist in it, and I think that's the best way to kind of describe this. So you've got something on streaming here with 21 Bridges, you've got some DVD and Blu-rays out with Star Wars, maybe not so much Black Christmas, and you know what, that is your whole batch of things to watch for this week on your TV, movies, as well as theatrical that you're able to watch within the comfort of your own home too. So I think that's us for another week, man.
That sounds like it to me. Tune in next time when we remain on our couches, I guess. We're not going to really be doing anything different.
But I promise that we won't sound so surprised that we're in lockdown, right?
We'll get used to this eventually. It's only been about 6 weeks, but we'll get used to this. It's been 6 weeks. I don't know anymore. Time has no meaning here.
It's only been about 4. Don't worry. Anyway, guys.
Well, you know what does have meaning, though, is movies, and that's the important part. So we'll return in another 7 days, I guess, with another batch of movies.
We will indeed.
And in the meanwhile, this has been Off Screen. I've been Van Con.
And I've been Becks Perfect, and we'll see you tuned in on lockdown next week.